Tonight, Greater Accra Regional Minister publicly names and shames underperforming MMDCEs in the capital as he scolds them for leaving parts of the region in filth and indiscipline.
Have you been hardworking?
Yes.
With Abubuya still on the motorway, can we say he's hardworking? Well, let's answer the questions. Quartey, rubbish around Graphic Road, hardworking. AMA, Kimbu, Tudu, everywhere, rubbish. Honorable Abana, Abubulisha has been turned into a refuse dump. Is it hardworking?
Plus, the move towards the restriction of the movement of commercial tricycles in the capital days after a similar move led to a violent protest in Ashanti region.
Here in the CBD, Kaneshi, Accra, those places are not the CBD. Is that the decision of the House? Yes. So when you go out, you don't say the regional minister said. What will be the word? Ban or restrict? Strictly. The movement of Pragya in the CBD is restricted.
This is Top Story with Evans Mensah.
And Top Story is always brought to you by Vodafone. Now, tonight, the Greater Accra Regional Minister has publicly been taking on the MMDCEs, naming and shaming those underperforming in the capital as he scolds them for leaving parts of the region in filth and indiscipline. He's been meeting with the MMDCEs today and in a whole no-holds-barred interaction called out a few of them and who he believes have left parts of their jurisdictions in filth. He also today has been in that conversation urging them to also take a strong view on the movement of tricycles in the capital, commercial tricycles, and this comes days after a similar move led to violent protests in the Ashanti region. We'll get into that pretty shortly, but listen to Henry Quartey, who today was meeting the MMDCEs and was clear some of them have underperformed.
Have you been hardworking?
Yes.
With Abubuya still on the motorway, can we say he's hardworking? Well, let's answer the questions. Is it hardworking? Chocho is still loading around Accra Mall. Is hardworking? Quartey, rubbish around Graphic Road, hardworking. AMA, Kimbu, Tudu, everywhere, rubbish, hardworking. I want us to mark ourselves. Honorable Abana, Agbobulisha has been turned into a refuse dump. Is it hardworking? Are you aware? The place we cleared, the people are still dumping refuse there. They have stopped. Since when? I can't hear you. Last month. Do you know the dates we did this exercise at Agbobulisha? 2 years. And it took you last month to stop them from dumping refuse. I'm not too excited about coming to read hard work. Yeah. Lejokuku, Ladadekotopon, Ashaman, Tema West. We talked about Abubuya on the motorway. They are still plying the motorway. They are. I also West Wogon. They actually Accra Mall. It's like that. In fact, Ladadekotopon, just in front of ex-President John Mahama's house, somebody has started selling onions and tomatoes. Unbelievable. We are fighting over who collects revenue at Palace Mall. And as the contractor continues to work, the median has become a place for organizer, church, mechanics. Every day I talk about it. MCE is not feeling well every day. So how do I read this speech?
He also challenged the MMDCEs to take a stronger view of commercial tricycles in the capital with an impending restriction on their movement.
Motorway, Aboboya on the motorway, they are coming back. Thankfully, Ashaman transfer site is ready. Medina transfer site is ready. We registered over 500 Aboboyas. That's solid. Ashaman, how many have you registered? About 420. So that's good news. So let's begin to link up. It means that your adjoining constituency should work with you, assembly should work with you. Is it going to be Adenta and Ashaman? So if you can also register some 400 or so, 500, so they don't ply the motorway. Because the argument will be that they don't have anywhere to go. So Aboboyas using the motorway to dump refuse can use the back routes and then dump at the transfer site at Ashaman. Abokobi and Medina, and then who else? Ayawaso West. So the three of you will bear. It means you have to get your team to start registering Aboboya, and then we can free them of the insurance. That restriction will have to be revisited, like yesterday on the motorway and all that. Do we have, or can we say that we can issue a statement to say no plagia in the CBD, and you're ensured to strict compliance? Is that a decision of the House? Plagia in the CBD, Kaneshi, Accra, those places are not plagia. The CBD, is that a decision of the House? So when you go out, you don't say the regional minister said. Presiding members, let's see by hand. All those who are in favor of restricting, what will be the word, ban or restrict? So is that the pleasure of the House? Let's see by hand. Strictly, the movement of plagia in the CBD is restricted. No. All those within there, you should ensure your task force to start, pass the bylaw quickly, please. When you go back, pass your bylaws on that one.
And thankfully, the regional minister joins us live on the line right now. Henry Quartey, thank you, sir, for your time here on Top Story. Fair to say you were very unhappy with the performance of some of the MMDCEs today.
Well, by the act of the Regional Coordinating Council, which is the Regional Coordinating Council, we are supposed to be meeting at least once in a year. And so today we did that. And because of the highest decision-making body of the region at this general meeting, we decided to do some appraisals. And let me be quick to say that though some improvement has been made since the last 2 years in terms of sanitation, we needed to also ensure that we have met our target. And clearly, from where I sit, and the goals or the targets that we set for ourselves, we have not met it. So, yes, we had to do that in-house, if you like, appraisals. And so I made it clear to them that there's more room for improvement.
Specifically, I heard you talk about the filth. Some of the MMDCs have allowed their jurisdictions to be engulfed in filth. You talk about Praja.
That is correct.
And you've indicated you didn't hesitate to name them publicly and call out their names and tell them what's happening there.
Yes, because I do visit these areas sometimes in the night and other odd times to ascertain for myself what is happening. I'm surprised you didn't mention my constituency as well. I'm from Ayawaso Central, and my assembly has also not been doing well in maintaining circle and its environment. So that I didn't hear that one in the news.
But what
Your
does that
voiceover. I am also central municipality. That's my constituency and assembly. And I think that on the issue of cars or commercial vehicles that have been loading under the interchange sector, they haven't done well. I mentioned that as well. You didn't capture that, so it doesn't look like I'm being biased.
Who takes that indictment then? The fact that even in your own backyard, things aren't going according to plan and people are underperforming. Is that the chief executive or the regional minister?
So I'll put the same question back to you. Kwesi Chum decides to run a radio station because he wants the best in journalism. He hires the services of professionals to run multimedia. So if multimedia is not doing well, should it be Kwesi Chum the issue holds, or should it be somebody who is not doing well in journalism?
In that case, I'm pretty sure Kwesi Chum will fire that person. Why aren't they being fired?
Well, so it's a process. Kwesi Chum is running a private limited liability company. This is a local government structure. So we do what we have to do. We make recommendations to the local government minister, to the president, and he is appointing authority.
What sanctions can be imposed? You're clearly unhappy, and this is not the first time you've been unhappy. And so this is not an isolated case. What sanctions can be imposed now?
Well, as I said, we all have our employer, and the employer is the final authority. But before we even get to sanctions, we have to prep ourselves and see how we can improve upon the situation. And I think that is what I've charged them to do, to improve upon the situation. And then hopefully in the next quarter or so when we meet again, we'll look at how far they've been able to go.
You've asked for improvements before. In fact, you've been on this campaign for a while. Clearly, in 2023, as you speak today, you're still not happy. It doesn't appear to me that you are achieving much results with them in terms of listening to these admonitions and getting the improvement and the obvious progress that you are seeking. Isn't it time to take off the gloves?
Well, as I said earlier on, you would agree with me that considering the situation that we met, or rather when I took office 2 years ago, there has been some improvements, if you like it, And so, like I said, I have set a target, and we have not met the target. So it is okay for me to tell them, hey, I'm looking for 10 points, you are 3 or 4 points, let's try and make sure we get to 10. Other than that, you would agree with me that some work, tremendous work has been done. I mean, undeniably, it used to be that serious, but at least we have made some progress,
You said you're not the appointing authority. What you can do is to make recommendations. Are you going to recommend for some of them to lose their jobs to the president?
We'll bring to the attention of the local government minister our findings and also the, if you like, advice that we have given to the MMDCEs and the technocrats as well to try and up their game.
You're treating them with kid gloves. You're struggling to say what the sanctions will be. That's why there's no deterrent. I am
not treating them with kid gloves. And I've brought to their attention areas that they are lacking. You only have to give them the chance to go back and improve upon it.
Final question is, are we going to see any consequence for underperformance at all among these MMDCEs?
Well, as I said, let us wait and see the next quarter how things goes. They are all going to go back and look at areas where they haven't done so well, and they will improve upon it. And then we can take it from there. But in the same vein, let me digress a bit. Today, we also collectively agreed to place a ban, and that is a total ban on the use of party paraphernalia during effective periods in the Greater Accra region. And that will mean from Adan all the way to Botiano, going forward. In all festivals, be it as a Fotufiam, Homowo, Plejo, anything, no traditional council authority or any party is expected to hoist any party paraphernalia whatsoever.
Another thing that was discussed today was an agreement, and it appears to be an agreement when it comes to what to do with commercial tricycles in the city. And you challenged them, you asked the questions, and they seem to agree with you that restrictions should be placed on the commercial tricycles, not only on the highways as was previously agreed, but this time in the inner city and areas such as Kaneshi, etc. And
we
you
were
challenged them
specific
to go
about
forward.
them, and that is to say the pragyas. The pragyas, we did say that some selected assemblies in the CBD, with the greatest of respect, pragyas operate in areas like the Dangbe, some remote areas that undoubtedly the pragyas may be of use there. But clearly, you don't want to see a pragya on Kaneshi Road, a Graphic Road, a High Street, and all that. So yes, some of the assemblies have been selected. There are almost about 8 of them. We'll issue a statement to that effect, so I'm sure when it comes out, you see.
So that will be a restriction, and I think that's the word you asked them to use in the statement that we're anticipating on the movement of Praja, for example, in the central business districts and other key areas.
So I could provide you with some of these assemblies that we mentioned. We are looking at the CBD, so AMA is one of them. Krowo is one of them. Kole Klote is one of them. Tema Metropolitan Assembly is one of them. Ladade Kotopon is one of them. Lankwantanan is one of them. Medina and a few others.
And the word was restriction. Is that a ban?
Yeah.
Would that mean you can't move?
Sorry?
It would mean you cannot move if you're using commercial tricycles. Okay. I mean, on the back of what happened in the Ashanti region, for example, the Ashanti regional capital, we saw the protests that this threw up in the KMA jurisdiction. Isn't that now, doing it in Accra, also possibly now setting us up for further confrontations and conflict?
Well, fortunately for us in Accra, we haven't gotten to the state where the Ashanti region finds itself now. There's just quite a few of them in Accra, and I think that the earlier the better. Prevention, they say, is better than cure. So I think that taking the precautionary measures now would go a long way to, as it were, reduce totally the movement of the Praja in these areas that we have selected. There are not many at all, but in the KMA jurisdiction, they are taking over the streets, actually. They are all over. So, of course, I'm not surprised, and I wouldn't be surprised that they are having these challenges, the protests coming on. But fortunately for us, if you recall, 2 years ago, I made the statement on Praja alongside the Aboboya, and I think that helped. But perhaps we've taken our eyes off a bit. So I've noticed that 1 or 2 or 3 of them are moving around. So the earlier, the better to curb the situation.
Please stay with me. Thankfully, we'll be joined by George Cyril Bray. He is the Dean for MMDCEs and also Ablekuma West MCE. George, do you accept that you have underperformed?
Good evening, Evans. Yes, but fortunately for us, when the minister counted, he did not count more than 10. So if you write an exam and at least out of 29, you have less than 10 failing, then it's not as bad as it may seem to look. But then still there's room for improvement. So we are going back home to get our acts together and perform better when we next meet to do this assessment.
Ablekuma West, I'm asking you specifically, looking at what you've done and the targets that you had, where are you? Underperforming?
No.
So what would you score yourself?
Well, I wouldn't give myself an A+, but I may probably say an A-.
And what is accounting for that stellar performance?
Well, what is accounting for the underperformance is got to do with one basic activity within my jurisdiction that I am still fighting. And I know after today's meeting, the minister has assured me he's going to help me fight it. It's the announced authorized dam site within my jurisdiction, which I am trying as much as possible to get rid of. So I would say that is what is not going to give me a full A or an A plus.
The question about consequences for MMDCs like yourself who underperform comes up every now and then. Do you accept that it's time to fire MMDCs who underperform?
Well, one may say because I belong to the fraternity, I may not fully agree that we would have to fire. But this is my reason for not possibly agreeing. Because even with an institution like multimedia, beginning of the year, you set targets for yourself. Midway through the year, you come to the drawing table to assess whether indeed you've been able to achieve whatever you set out to do. And if you haven't, you come up with another strategy to make sure you achieve whatever you set out to do.
Yeah, but I bet you persistence and a performance will eventually result in the dismissal.
Well, so like my minister said, we are supposed to have another meeting probably in the next quarter. And at that point, I believe if those assemblies that fell within the below average are still within the same territory, as in still within the below average territory, then obviously I think some sanctions will be meted out.
What sanctions should be meted out?
Well, at this point, I'm not the appointing authority, so unfortunately, I cannot prescribe anything but to go by what the appointing authority will say.
And also joining me right now, Nilante van der Poy, of course, in the Parliament's local government, and also a former local government minister. Mr. van der Poy, thanks for your time here on Top Story.
Thank you very much, Evans.
On the subject of the commercial tricycles, I know there was a decision that you supported to restrict their movement on the highways. You've heard tonight there's a variation of that. We're anticipating a statement will be issued shortly. The minister has clarified the CBD and other areas will now see a complete restriction on their movement. Do you support that as well?
Well, once again, I say thank you, and I say thank you to and good evening to your listeners. Well, we have decided that anything that will be good for Greater Accra region, anything that will lead to the development of Greater Accra region, will support it. So when the regional minister mooted the idea of restricting the movement of these aboboyers on our major highways, he did consult with us in Parliament. All the members of Parliament, all the 34 of us met. We discussed the pros and cons. We looked at the human aspect of it. We looked at the job aspect of it. And we all came to the conclusion that in times like this, the general welfare of the people living in the region and the welfare of motorists on our various highways is paramount and very important, and as such, we must take a decision in the interest of national development, and we did, and we support the idea.
And particularly, I know your jurisdiction, that the CBD falls in your jurisdiction as a member of Parliament, correct?
Yes.
And this, therefore, will be one that you would see in terms of its benefits, if there are any, very directly. Now we are seeing that your MMDC in that area should be issuing a statement pretty shortly announcing that. But knowing what happened in Kumasi recently, isn't that a concern there, the violence that we saw there, that this could also become a challenge for us to manage?
Well, if as you see, nobody is saying people should not fly aboboya. One, there is an issue of registration. You must be registered within the assembly in which you operate. Two, there are designated places that you cannot go. Even the truth of the matter is that if you're driving in a place like a CBD, already hawkers and traders are taking part of the road. If you have these aboboyers, we sometimes do not use driving mirrors. They virtually risk the life of almost every other driver. It becomes very difficult to manage them. Sometimes when you even blowing the horn, they don't even hear. So, one, it is not only the people who are driving other vehicles or other transporters, but even their own life is also at risk. And I think that restricting them to areas like Abublushi, Malata Market, and the rest, and they not coming to Kwame Nkrumah Circle, not coming to a place like the Bank of Ghana area and the rest, it's a good idea, which all of us must support. If I were the regional minister, I would do say.
Mr. Harry Quartey, there you have it. You have bipartisan support for this, with the extension that we're expecting to be announced by the various assemblies. When can we expect this to take full effect?
First of all, I think we have to bring clarity to some of the things we are discussing. On the issue of Abubuya, like the Honourable Member of Parliament for Dodo Diodio said, we've discussed that extensively with the Greater Accra Parliamentary Caucus, both minority and majority, and also the local government committee for local government and all that. But today we are making emphasis on the Pragyas. You see, with the Abubuya, we did say that the waste management services companies should construct transfer stations so that they can use alternative routes to go and then dump the refuse. And as you heard in the meeting, 3 transfer stations are ready for commissioning. So you heard Ashaman say they've registered about 420 of them. Madina also mentioned about 500. So they were supposed to register these operators of Abubuya, get them licensed, and then they wear the proper gear in riding this Abubuya. So it's not as if we're taking them off the road completely. But like the Honorable Neil and Van said, you don't expect to see Abubuya riding in front of, say, Jubilee House. You don't expect an Abubuya around Bank of Ghana. You don't expect Abubuya, more especially on the motorway. It is causing accidents almost every now and then. So that's why we use the word restriction. So these are going to be regulated. But the Pragyas is a no-go for them in the CBD. So let's get the distinction between the two, so that the reportage will go down well for listeners and viewers to appreciate where we are coming from.
So this latest addition, when do you anticipate that it should take effect?
And again, the correction is that because the decision was taken at the highest decision-making body at the region, it binds because all of them were there. So as I speak to you, the release is almost ready, and hopefully it's already 6 o'clock, so you should expect it tomorrow morning. And then there will be a collaboration with the security and intelligence agencies. The MMDCEs are supposed to hold a MUSEC and DISEC meetings for their respective assemblies where these restrictions apply. And then we expect them, the security agencies, to collaborate with us in this direction. Now, again, you did say that you asked the MC whether they have worked so far, the success of the work they've done. If you recall, hitherto, or rather before the Let's Make Greater Accra Work agenda, motorcycles and all that were not obeying the traffic regulations. Today, as a result of some of these initiatives that we have brought, with the collaboration of the MMDCEs and, of course, the Ghana Police Service, you will notice that these days, when you get to the traffic intersections, most of the motorbikes have started respecting the traffic regulations. So Rome was not built in a day. We are making progress, and we shall get there.
Thank you very much, sir. And you made the point at the beginning. I also want to touch on, which very briefly, on the ban on party paraphernalia at festivals. What's the rationale for this?
Well, I tried something in 2017-18 when I was a deputy minister of national security, and it started from Ada, where I think it's currently one of the areas where we observe festivals, Asafotufiam. Now, usually, prior to the celebration or observation of these festivals, the whole occasion is usually characterized with hoisting of party paraphernalia, and then the festival, instead of depicting and for that matter, communicating to the world or exhibiting our rich culture and traditional values, becomes a political arena. And usually it doesn't end well. So I had a meeting with the traditional council there that, look, let us try and experiment something. I can tell you on authority that the MP there, Honorable Doyo, did collaborate with us, and in the last 5 years, celebration of Asafo Tufiam has been without any party color, and it's gone so well. Now, so today, we thought it wise that if Asafo Tufiam has succeeded, then we should replicate, say, across the Greater Accra region. So again, at the highest decision-making body today, it was unanimously agreed that going forward, that will not be a restriction. It's a complete ban. I mean, festivals are festivals. We want to portray, display the rich culture that we have. Why should we mix it up with politics? So that's the reason
that's
why.
That's a rationale for that. And thankfully, I have Neil Lante with me, so he's a political man through and through. Let me ask him his reaction to that. Neil, what do you make of that ban?
Well, I think it's a very good idea because, you see, our festival is the only cohesive force we have today if we put away national politics. Festivals is when we come together as a people to celebrate our rich culture and heritage. And I said, if we allow the politicians to politicize our festivals, everything about us will further be divided, will further be disintegrated, and we shall not be a people anymore. I will want to see a situation where during Homework this weekend, I and my other political colleagues, in spite of they being other political parties, can sit together, put our hands into the same bowl and eat properly together. When it gets to politics, we can do our politics. But when it comes to our festival, when it comes to our traditions, our culture, our customs,